Those of you who watch my channel regularly know that there is a large amount of incorrect shooting advice out there. Unfortunately, a lot of it comes from people who we would hope to be reputable and accurate sources of coaching advice, such as current and former NBA shooting legends and high-level coaches. In this video, I'm going to show you evidence of these supposedly knowledgeable basketball figures giving what I consider to be one of the worst pieces of shooting advice possible: keeping your palm off the ball, otherwise known as no palm. I'm then going to explain to you why the idea of no palm is not only incorrect, but also highly damaging for young basketball players who may be taking on this advice. Before I get into that, I'd like to quickly mention two things. First, I just started a Patreon page for this channel. If you are interested in contributing, which I would greatly appreciate, or if you're interested in getting technique coaching from me, then be sure to check that out after this video. Secondly, if you have any direct questions, be sure to follow my Instagram and comment or message me over there. Let's get right into these players and coaches talking about the palm.
Miller Lite, we're just talking about the mechanics of shooting the ball from one of the greats of all time, Hall of Famer Reggie Miller.
Yeah, and we saw Rondo when he had the basketball over there. You know, most shooters like to have the fingertips all on the basketball, so the follow-through is a little bit easier on your wrist action. Well, Rondo, see how he's palming the basketball right there? There's no daylight in between there. He's just shooting it with all palm, and you shoot the basketball with fingertips and your wrist.
When I'm shooting. Also, what I keep in mind, I'm not having flat palms on the ball, right? Because then you end up shooting more with your palms.
Because I want it on those fingertips. The ball is not on the palm, it's on my fingertips.
Everybody see that space right here? You don't want the ball sitting on your palm like this. You see the difference? No, yes.
First thing I say is to keep the ball off your palm.
Grip the ball in your fingertips, not your palms. Too many times we see guys holding the ball in the palm of their hand and trying to shoot it in the palm of their hand. It doesn't work. It's got to be fingertip control, and you need to see that your palm is not on the basketball.
I'm going to go over the three main reasons why the idea of no palm is simply false. The first reason is that the common explanation given for why the palm is bad is wrong to the point of being ridiculous. People who say that the palm is bad often say that if the ball is in your palm, you will shoot the ball with your palm.
Keep in mind, I'm not having flat palms on the ball, right? Because then you end up shooting more with your palms.
In between there, he's just shooting it with all palm, and you shoot the basketball with fingertips and your wrist.
This just makes no sense. The only way that you would actually shoot the ball with your palm would be to shoot it like a shot put. Whether the ball touches your palm or not, here, here, or here, the last point of contact with the ball will still be your fingertips. That's right, because everyone who has ever shot a basketball has a flick of their wrist when they shoot, the ball always rolls off the palm, into the finger pads, and eventually off the fingertips. To recap, the only way to shoot the ball with your palm is to not flick your wrist at all. Releasing the ball with your fingertips has nothing to do with whether or not your palm is in contact with the ball as you catch and raise it to your release point. If you flick your wrist, you shoot the ball with your fingertips. Another common explanation given for why the palm is bad is that if the ball sits on your palm, it will be unstable. People often hold the ball up and wiggle their hand underneath the ball to try to illustrate this.
I like to have some type of small gap in between it because that's where the control comes from. If I'm here flat-footed, it's loose.
While their point is technically correct, luckily, no one actually shoots the ball like this. That's because you use your other hand, your offhand, to pin the ball into your shooting hand. This totally mitigates the supposed issue of side-to-side instability because the ball isn't being balanced on your hand at all. It's actually being held in place quite firmly by your offhand. The second reason why the idea of no palm is false is that the majority of professional basketball players contact the ball with their palm when they catch and raise the ball up to shoot it. I'm just going to have footage rolling in the background of players who contact the ball with their palm as they raise it to their release. I'm going to explain why this is the case in the next point, but the fact that a huge percentage of the best shooters we've ever seen touch the ball with their palm should be enough of a reason to completely disregard the no palm advice, even if I was unable to provide an explanation of why the palm is not a problem. Finally, on this point, one of the best shooters in the NBA right now, Damian Lillard, actually goes through a period of time in his shot where only the palm touches the ball. I've talked about this in other videos previously, such as in Head to Toe episode 2, which you should check out. After Lillard's set point, his shooting hand fingers, including the finger pads, completely lose contact with the ball for a moment, before coming back into contact with the ball and performing the wrist flick. I suggested in that video that this actually helps Lillard to create backspin on his shot by allowing his fingers to gain momentum before performing the flick of the ball, resulting in a slapping effect. Once again, Lillard's example alone should be enough evidence to completely undermine the idea of no palm. If someone could be a top 10 shooter in the NBA with a bit of only palm in their shot, palm contact clearly isn't an issue. The third reason why the idea of no palm is false is that it actually hurts your consistency, especially if you're a younger or smaller player with smaller hands. When someone throws you the ball, you catch it with the help of your palm. It is harder to catch a ball with just your fingertips for obvious reasons, one of which is the reduced surface area that you're working with. That means that if you're a no palm shooter, you would have to catch the ball and then adjust your shooting hand grip so that the ball rises up and sits above your palm. Admittedly, that's a small adjustment, but it's an extra adjustment nonetheless. I think this is one of the reasons why elite quick-release shooters use the palm in their shot. It gives them added control over the ball and allows them to skip an unnecessary step in their gather, ball raise, and eventually release. In addition, if you're a small or young player, you're going to have smaller hands. This means that you are naturally going to have less control over the ball. Go grab a ball right now and see how much grip and control you have over the ball holding it in your finger pads versus holding it sitting entirely in your hand. Players with large hands might be able to get away with using no palm and still control the ball. But as a player with smaller hands, my own experience has been that it becomes very difficult to control the ball without the help of the palm as a stabilizer. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why pro players continue to insist on giving this advice. They have large hands, so having no palm is not hugely detrimental for them. But for the ordinary person or child, no palm is potentially disastrous for reasons of control over the ball and therefore shooting consistency. So now you know how I feel about the idea of no palm. I will use this conclusion to make a general point about coaching in basketball. I invite everyone to bring a healthy amount of skepticism to advice that you're given, no matter the source of that advice. Just because someone is really good at something doesn't mean that they're really good at telling you how to be good at that same thing. Those are two different skills. Some people have both of them, but some people only have one. For you guys, this means that you need to actually think about what people are telling you to do and decide for yourself if it makes sense. That's how I approach learning to shoot the ball. And I think that's why I've made consistent progress in my own ability to shoot, despite only having played basketball for 3 years. Finally, if you want to follow my own journey to becoming a good shooter, make sure you check out my Instagram, and don't forget about my Patreon, where you can contribute to this channel or sign up for online coaching from me. As always, thanks for watching, and you'll hear from me in the next video.